The Do This podcast is part of the Win, Make, Give podcast network. Bob Stewart and Chad Hyams chat with Julie Gritton about her successful real estate practice, emphasizing the power of communication and respect when working with family. Julie shares insights on streamlining her team's processes using Brivity and highlighting the importance of consistency in marketing. Discover the strategies behind maintaining diverse lead sources and driving team efficiency. We hope you enjoy this episode of the Do This podcast, presented by Brevity.
Hey, Chad Hyams, Julie. Julie,
Hi.
how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Awesome. I'm fantastic. Thank you for joining us. We were talking weather, and I was telling you guys I have adult onset allergies before we got started. So if I look like I've been crying because Chad's so funny, it's not true. He's not funny. I wasn't crying. My shirt is allergy. Oh, you do have a fancy shirt on today, Julie. Julie and I didn't get the memo, Chad, that we're dressing up.
Either that or I didn't get the wear a black shirt memo. Yes.
No, that's a standing memo across the place. Julie, do me a favor.
Yes.
Introduce yourself to our audience today. Let them know who you are, where you do it, and maybe tell us a little bit about your team.
Okay. My name's Julie Gritton. I have been a real estate agent for 20 years. I've had my real estate team for about 8 of those 20 years. We started out as very much so family, my brother, my husband, my best friend, right? And then from there, we've grown to now we're 13. So there's 13 of us, and we're doing business in Delaware at the Delaware beaches. Obviously, it's cold right now, but it will be warmer in the summertime, and that's when we'll see our bigger increase of people coming to our market again in the spring.
Can I go first?
Yeah, please.
All right. 2-part question. Part 1 is a short answer. It's a yes, no for you, nice and easy. Are husband, brother, and best friend all still husband, brother, and best friend, and all still working with you?
Husband is still working with me. Brother is still working in real estate, but he moved to sunny Florida. and my best friend, actually, she has taken a step back because she now has 3 children. So she's focused on that right now, but she still has her real estate license.
Okay.
Still your best friend?
Still my best friend.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
Yes,
That's
yes.
key.
That leads me to part B of this, working with family. Right, whether it's husband who's chosen family, whether it's brother who you were stuck with since birth, or whether it's best friend who might as well be family. Can you take a minute before we get into numbers, before Bob gets into that Brivity detail stuff? Can you help our audience? Because there are so many people that we hear from regularly talking about working with their spouse, working with their best friend. How do I lead them? Because I'm the rainmaker in the organization, et cetera, et cetera. Talk about working with, leading those people that are that close to you outside of the business too.
So it's different, right? There are different dynamics. But I think what's most important is communication and respect. And if you have communication, respect, that's got to keep that top of line. We also, it's funny because now I also work with my sister-in-law, and we have hey, I'm putting on my business hat. Hey, I'm putting on my sister-in-law hat, right? We talk about that differently because it's different. And sometimes you just need to actually say it to remember, like, this is from a place of guidance. This is from a place of love, right? But what's most important is communication, and everybody has to have their role and know what it is. And I think that's really important. Like, yes, I'm the decision maker at the end, but if I gave this to my husband to do and this is what he's doing, that's something he's going to do. And I give feedback of what that should be, but I also have to trust the support that I'm being given. So that's worked for us, just having those defined roles and supporting it. But it is still family. It is still friends. So there are times, but we just have to always say, okay, I need a second. Let me go for a walk. I'll come back. We'll try this again. But, just having that respect, underlying respect and love for each other is, you got to remember that, even because you're going to have the bad days, right? But you have to remember that to keep going.
I love that. I mean, it's sometimes, Chad, we talk about this. Yep. Sometimes like the simplest answer where you're like, yeah, is the most powerful. Saying where you're coming from, just the simple, like, hey, this one's coming out of love as your sister-in-law, right? Hey, this one's coming out of respect as your business partner. I love that because it allows that person taking the feedback to kind of realize where it's coming from, right?
Yes.
Sometimes when those lines are too blurry, you might give some I love you feedback that they take as, as business feedback or vice versa. That's really good. Can we so I was poking around in your Brivity. Let's talk for a second because I think this is important, and a lot of our audience is customers already, but some people will come across that are not. You went from a business, Julie, that had a lot of moving pieces and a lot of software, and when somebody would join the organization, a new agent, they'd have to learn how to log into the 15 places, and obviously today at Brivity, that's a more simple process. Talk a little bit about how maybe that's made you guys like more efficient as a team, or how has that shown up on the team in terms of making you guys more productive?
Yeah, and you're not lying. It was like this, right? Everything was everywhere. And it was difficult, even from a management perspective of helping people. But getting everything into one system and having all the admins communicate with the agents through there and the agents there, having everything just talk to each other inside of one place made it so there was an adjustment of getting used to the new way, right? It wasn't the same old way, but from a new agent perspective, it makes such a huge difference. Like all of our agents have transactions in their first month that they're with us, right? Versus that could have taken in the past 2 to 3 months before they had that same level of traction. So the new agents, I think, benefit the most from it because they didn't have the bad habits. They didn't know all the other things and have to piece it all together. But for the agents who did have to do all that, they're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing now that they know how to do it, because they can literally just say, hey, to one of our admins, just, hey, I need this for my file. And then miraculously it's done. It shows up, right? Which that's the ultimate goal, is that we have that constant communication, but we can do it on our phone or we can do it on the computer. And we only have to remember one login.
By the way, like I don't think there's any shame. Not that you are ashamed of it, by the way, but somebody out there might be like, wow, how did I get to this place where I've got 15 different things? And it kind of happens naturally. It's like you start in real estate and you're like, I need a CRM. And then you're like, I should probably have a website. And so you get that. And then you're like, we're going to do some mail marketing. So you go off and you find the company out here. And eventually over time, you said, you've had the team for 8 years, maybe 6 or 7 of those before you got to Brivity. And you were just like, oh, we need this now. We need this now. We need this now. And eventually you look up and you're in this place where you're like, man, we got a lot of stuff, a lot of logins, a lot of stuff for somebody to learn when they first get started. Now, Chad, go.
Yeah, I want to ask a question about that, because there are going to be some people. You're right, Bob. Many of the people that are smart enough to be paying attention to this webinar series are here as Brivity clients saying, I want to do it better. Yet there might be somebody out there who's thinking about it. And the biggest obstacle I'll hear all the time is, that's not the way I do it. Right. And specifically, I'm talking about dialing through Brivity or sending the text through Brivity. It's so easy to pick up my phone, open the texting app and go, right? Or it's so easy to pick up my phone and open my contacts and just call my friend. Hey, call Bob, right? I could just tell my phone to do it and it'll do it. Yet using Brivity, how did you get the old school agents to buy in and make that transition to use the tool the way it's going to bring the best results? The new agents, as you said, they didn't know any better. So I just said, dial through this app, call here, do that. How did you get the old ones, your husband who was like, I don't want to make this change, right? And the others to play nicely and use Brivity properly? Because someone out there is saying, that's the reason I'm not going to do it, because I'm not going to dial through it. I'm not going to text through it.
Well, the first thing is, as a team owner, you better do it yourself. That's one thing.
That's a great point.
I did it myself, and then my matrix are what I can show the agents of how it's improving and how I'm actually able to keep track of me. But the other part of it is, I actually believed in it so much that I went and we changed everybody's business cards to their Brivity numbers. That was the way. All of our communication is in the system. It was I believe in this so much that they all see. I think we all forget as team leaders, like they see how busy we are. Like they're like, you'll hear it. Like, I don't know how you do all that. Like I can't even do all this for me, and you're doing all that. That's your moment to say, Brivity helps me do all that, right? I can't do all that either if I don't have a system. It's so much easier when John Smith calls me that I just pick up the phone and say, hey, John Smith, I know all this stuff about you. I know when I talked to you last, I know all your files, all the previous things, right? So I don't have to go look in all those other places either. But if the team leader isn't bought in, the rest of them won't be bought in either. So to me, I don't even have to have those conversations with them because this is just how we do it. It's not, and the agents before, the hardest thing I think for them to buy into is the dialer, right? If you can get them comfortable with the dialer, and I bring them in here, they sit at that table, and I sit here and I just say, dial. And what's the worst that could happen, right? But I'm doing it with them the first time. Even if it's just 50 calls, it makes a big difference because I sit here and I'm like, hey, that was great. Hey, that was this, right? And then they're like, oh, wow, I did all that in 45 minutes. And then once they see it, then they're bought in because now they're like, well, I did 50 calls in 45 minutes. Why would I not do that, right?
So good.
Yep.
My favorite answer to that question is you got to lead them in. You got to do it, Julie.
Got to do it.
Right. And in your business, like I always say this, it doesn't have to be Julie. It's got to be somebody, though. And if you don't have a somebody, then it's got to be Julie. And in this case, and I'm in your Brevity. Like I can see you're doing it. You're making the calls. You're logging your contacts. You're logging your appointments in there. You guys have a really, really strong sales funnel. You guys set appointments at some of the best clips that I've ever seen. And a big piece of this is because you have an ISA in your business. I want to talk about this for a minute because I think a lot of people, a lot of teams would love to have one. A lot of teams have even tried one at one point. It didn't work out. You have an ISA that, at least over the last 30 days, I can probably go back further and get a little bit more context, but over the last 30 days has set a large volume of appointments. You said on average it's like one a day, but you had a day recently where that ISA set 5 appointments and you guys almost struggled to find the agents to go fill those appointments because your agents are already busy and 1 or 2 of them are probably getting into holiday mode already. But can we talk about that ISA? Where'd you find this person? Where'd this ISA come from?
Brevity.
So I kind of knew that. I didn't know for
Bob,
sure.
Nice plug for yourself.
I didn't know for sure, Chad, but I was hoping that this one was going to be a big old softball. So it's a Brivity ISA. You reached out to our team, and how long have you had this ISA with you? Kind of talk about the process for me a little bit.
Okay, so when we came on to Brivity, we were going through a data migration with everything. And he actually was brought on to help us with that because our database was so large. So that was the initial setup with that. But upon working with him and finding out all the other things about him, I ended up finding out some great information about all of his past experience. Plus, me and him work together so well. He's just got the best personality. He's very positive. He's never negative. He's always like, we can do this. I know we can do this. I have full faith and trust in everything we're doing. Right. And so his energy feeds all the agents. They're excited. Like when he calls, they want to answer the phone. They know when he's calling, it means that he has somebody for them. But he's always very positive about everything. And so I ended up finding out all this. We got through our data migration. He did an excellent job. And then it was like, I don't want him to go away. I don't want him to go away. I know I can work with him in a different aspect of our business. And by this time with using Brevity, we were already starting to see business pick up certain things. Now we had streamlined, we're making more business, right? And so I was like, I'm going to keep him on. We're going to see what else we can work with. And we did a bunch of different things and ended up finding out that he's amazing on the phone. So
good.
Yeah, it's great. And he does a wonderful job.
What does he call? Look, you have an ISA in there. And actually, before we dive into that, how much, because I think with an ISA, so you got this guy. He was not brought as an ISA. He was brought as a database manager with a certain set of skills, and you realize he's got an additional set of skills. So that's maybe a little bit lucky there. You weren't setting out to hire this person as an ISA. But now that he's in that role, who does he call? What does he do? Does he just run the daily routine? Does he cover your ponds? Does he who is he calling?
So he is calling all of our speed to lead, right? Anybody who's speed to lead, he's calling them. He is doing all the different ponds that we have. He also earning speed to lead, they'll go into a pond and he knows hey, if it's been more than 5 minutes and the agents haven't picked them up, he picks them up. But he also goes back into the database and he actually pulls a lot of these appointments out of our watch category. Most of them are just people who have recently been back on our website. They're re-engaging, and he's calling them and cultivating them.
He has permission then to go in, and if today a watch lead is in the database and it's assigned to Leslie, and it hits the website today, will that ISA jump in and call? What, by the way, what is his name? Let's give him a name.
Aries is his name.
Aries.
His name's Aries.
Okay. Will Aries jump in on Julie's lead, or on Leslie's lead and call Leslie?
Yes, potentially. Potentially. So we have all the agents can customize he helps me with a lot of the database leads that are just for the entire team that everything's been dumped in.
Sitting in the pond or
they're sitting in the pond
to you, or okay.
But he has a relationship with a couple of the agents on the team where with all of them first, and then he sends them a report each week, and it tells them about the health of their database. And then he offers, hey, is this a busy week for you? If it is, let me know. I can help you, right? And so he picks each agent who's raised their hand and says, I need help. And he calls their database for them. He's learned their different scripts and how to talk to those people and everything too. And so, and for each agent, it's a little bit different, but it's a level of support extra that we can give for them. But if he doesn't have any of that, he calls the database and stuff things.
That's so good, because he's okay. Wow, you're like blowing my mind a little bit here. So because he had that first skill set, which is he doing the database management stuff. So on your team, and by the way, if you have a Brivity VA, they can do this for anybody's team, but on your team, like every Monday morning, your agents come in, and Aries has set up, he's run a scorecard. So we've got this scorecard concept in place. We do it for Brivity customers as well. But, and so Aries goes in, and you get a team scorecard, Julie, once a month, but Aries goes in every week for your agents. And now he's looking at their scorecard. So he's like, oh, wow, Leslie's got a whole bunch of website visitors that have piled up. Let me reach out and offer, hey, Leslie, can I help get some of these website visitors called for you? And then that way Leslie's like, yes, please, thank you. I don't want Julie on my butt about my scorecard being low. Yes, please help me. And he goes and makes the calls to him. And then he just turns the lead back to Leslie if he's able to get them on the phone and they're interested in an appointment, right?
Yeah, and he has access to all of our calendars too. So he literally just puts the appointments on for them. So he already knows they're available, how they can call him back.
How do you guys do that on your calendar? Is that just like we're always like every agent tells him, hey, between 3 and 6, if you see anything open, you can slot it in there? Do you guys put like blocks on your calendar that says like ready for an appointment, and then he fills over the top of those? Or what does that look like?
Yep. Each agent has, like on mine, I have a 2-hour window, right? That's always good for him to be able to do that. And some agents actually have their calendar just open, and they're just like, as long as I have an hour's notice, put it on there and just shoot me a text. And so he'll set them. And then some agents even say like, hey, try and set them for tomorrow. Like, I know my tomorrow's not really super busy, so set it for then, because I'm out with clients today. Because that's usually what happens, is they're out with clients. They want to make sure that people are getting back too fast, but they know they're out. So they ask him to fill their tomorrow. So he fills their tomorrow.
How lazy do your agents get about making the calls they should make, because he's so good at this and covering? How do you keep them doing their job and not just saying, well, he's going to call all my leads, I can just worry about being a showing assistant, basically?
So they know that he will not, so he can't sit there and call just one person's, there's limits to everything, right? He can help, he knows it, because there's also 13 people. So he can't do every single person for the whole day, right? So he can help them, and he usually says, hey, I can call like 10 people, right? 10 is a good round number where it makes some progress, but there's still plenty for them to do. The other thing is they still need to call. Now, we do have a problem with calls. We need to do more calls, but that's why we do call night. That's why I have them come in here. That's why we're doing the dialer. That's why we're trying to get more used to that. It's also why we're working on AI coaching and some other things that we're doing, right? But we have to be able to, we do have to get our call numbers up. I think in general, now that you can text message and get a response so easily, it's the easy way that people feel more comfortable doing that. But the relationship is the call. So we have to get our calls up.
The appointment comes from the call too. Like, look, we've studied this, Julie, for a decade. You can You can set an appointment via text. Don't let me get that, like, make you think that I don't think that's possible, because I know everybody's probably done it at least once, right? But sending 1,000 texts will not lead you to more appointments. Making 1,000 phone calls will lead you to more appointments. And we've proven this out. So I totally agree with you there. You have a very broad business too. Like, if any one of Ben talks about building our business on the legs of a stool. So you've got past clients that come back and do business with you. You guys got Sphere that does business with you. You have agents that refer you business. You've got you close some internet leads. Like, you guys have a really broad base of your stool. How did that happen? Is that just naturally that happened? Like, have you guys, because when I look at the sources of business that you guys have closed from this year, it is vast.
Yeah, it's I always, once a year, when it's around this time of year, I always go back through all of our lead sources, look at everything that's working, what's not, and then I also have this whole other category of it's kind of working, it's kind of not. Is it more of a, we need to do some things different with that category? And so over the years, I have just like, hey, that's not working, it's got to go. This one does. And you just kind of customize it a little bit more. But the biggest thing is you have to have, if something is working, I don't want to remove it, right? So what has happened is we do have now like several sources that are working really well from previous that they don't need to go away. And they're usually more budget friendly options anyway. So they're just paying for themselves. Then you have things though that you're paying a lot for. And if they're not converting, you really do have to look at that, because you're throwing money away. And sometimes those things are,
client referrals, like you guys have closed a lot of client do you do anything particular to prompt your clients to make referrals to you guys?
Yes, we have a top 50 that we teach everybody, and it's part of their business plan, something that we meet about every month, sorry. And then we also, we do gifts for our past clients. We do mailings for our past clients. We do calls. We actually have a call night that is specifically once or twice a year assigned to that. And then I also do 2 client appreciation events each year. We do it as a team. So that way they all have a place that they can actually invite people to and something to do. I feel like once you give them the tools to actually do it, and it's like everybody's doing it, everybody wants to make the calls more, they want to invite people more, they want to go out and door knock and hand somebody a cutting board, right? They want to do all those things. As a group, it helps keep people motivated for that.
Chad, you look like you got one?
I had like 3. So let me drop a coaching moment, then I'll go back and ask a question. Okay. They're not past clients, everybody. They're clients.
Chad likes this one.
Okay. They're not past clients. They are clients.
We've done a bad job as an industry naming these individuals.
We absolutely do. The only reason they're past clients is they have literally passed away. Okay. When you go to the dentist properly, you go twice a year. You don't walk out the door and the dentist says, well, there went my past client, Chad. There went my client, Chad, who is on a 6-month cycle. My doctor sees me yearly. I'm still a client, folks. Real estate, it just happens to be a variable number and a large number usually before they come back into the cycle. We didn't call it a past client appreciation event. We call it a client appreciation event because there's still and always will be clients. Change your mindset. Change your wording on that, everybody. Now, I'll go to the question that I had that came up through all of that now that I'm off that soapbox. Bob was talking about you have all these different lead sources. And you've purged some, you've kept some around. I just want to know, because everybody's looking for the magic bullet that does not exist. Yet, what is the surprise source of business that you're like, I can't believe we get this many from newspaper ads, or something stupid like that, or what's out of the blue? What's something that's a surprise lead source that keeps returning some business?
A surprise lead source? I don't know. I don't have a surprise. The biggest surprise I think for me is like how much of our business actually comes from past clients. Honestly,
no, like current clients.
Current clients.
Okay.
Because
So a lot of it's coming from referrals from clients that you have had as your number one source, which everybody wants, right? Everybody's sitting back going, well, I want to sit back, put my feet up on the chair and just have the phone ring because people bring me referrals. And you just told us, no, we're working for those referrals. It's not we're sitting around. Yet, if nothing surprises you on that, what's the one you've gotten rid, what needs to go? Talk to me about these lead sources because everybody's challenged. The market's so hard. Okay. We understand it's do the basics. Get those referrals. Talk to those people. Sit open houses still to give people opportunities to see them and you to meet them. Door knock, send mailers. Talk to me about the lead sources and tell me something that's working other than referrals, either at a surprising level or no, I expect it to work. And it's one that we'll always make sure stays around for that reason, even though it's not cheap or free or something.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest one for us is mailings, to be honest. They still are the strong and true
And
thing
they work.
that works.
People
you
call
have
you
to
off
be
them.
consistent. You have to be consistent.
What
but
does
if
that
you
mean?
are
Is that monthly? Is that
monthly,
4 times for every
monthly.
listing?
It has to be monthly to your farm. It has to be every listing. It has to be every pending, every sold. It has to be. You have to just keep doing that. It doesn't matter if it's a $55,000 house or a $3 million house. You need to consistently do it to get your brand out there and to be out there. It takes a lot of times for somebody to see your name, for them to recognize it. And you could be that lucky agent who sends out one mailing and you get 3 people, right? But you really are going to have a much better chance of that happening if you actually get to 3, 4, 5, 6 times you've sent it. Most agents don't. They'll do one, they didn't get anything back, and so they're like, well, that didn't work. But we've done mailings forever, and they're not cheap. They're not. That's probably, but there's things you can do now with technology to make that a little bit more budget friendly. But you definitely, I would say that's the one that a lot of people complain to me about and say like, that doesn't work for me. And I'm like, well, it works a lot. It works great for us.
Okay, so you're saying for an agent that's on the newer side, just joined Brivity, just joined the industry, whatever it is, as soon as possible, get a mailer budget so that you can commit to, and even if it's small group, and as you make more money, you can widen the group or what, but a monthly into a farm, and you're sending mailers about a new listing, you're sending them about when they close.
Correct. And you also should do make sure that you have just the same group of people too that you're focusing on, like the same farm. Like if you have 100 people, it doesn't have to be location, and I think that's what hangs up people too. Like you can have something else besides the location. It could be a certain niche market. It could be people that you know. It could be
or geographic.
Yep. And those sometimes work better because it's the same people over and over again, but it's different price points, it's different things. So don't limit yourself to the address specifically that it's around. You could limit yourself more to, hey, I'm selling a 55 plus community. Great. There's other 55 plus communities in your area, right?
That's
so
smart.
Maybe you're actually doing all the 55 plus that have been owners in for 7 years, right?
So
that's
often
different.
we think about farm as geographical. We're like, we're going to target this area, but what you're saying is, well, that same profile of a person lives over here and over here. So let's take a few of them from each group. I would just give a quick plug to Remine, our new sister company that we purchased here this year, that does really great data pulls, and it's got all sorts of ways you can slice and dice it. Maybe, Julie, I realize you're not in, but maybe it's a VA loan group because you're in a military market, which you're not. But or I don't think you are. Delaware has some military bases up there, right?
Space, yeah.
Okay. Man, Julie, thank you for joining us today. Like, you've got a really cool business. I'm actually I'm going to pick your brain on the ISA side of things. I'm going to follow up with you offline because your ISA Aries, shout out if Aries is on here. You're killing it, Aries. These are some of the best numbers I've seen in terms of I got to listen. Are you guys doing call recording up there yet, Julie? I want to hear a couple of Aries calls.
We haven't. We're actually getting ready to start that now. Yeah.
He must be good on the phone because the contact to appointment numbers that Aries has in here are off the charts. It's really
Bob,
cool.
I got to ask you a quick question. postcard. I can do postcards right from within Brivity, right? I mean, I'm not forgetting that right? Okay, because people are asking, like, where should I go to get postcard? You should be doing it right in Brivity.
Yeah, Brivity Marketer.
Yeah, that's where we do all ours.
Yeah, Brivity Marketer. You can go right there on that left-hand navigation. Look for the little bullhorn. You click on that, and that'll launch off Brivity Marketer that has direct mail in there, which is where Julie's, she's probably finding her audiences in there. She's finding her designs in there. She grabs the property really quick, and in a few clicks, she's able to put those things together and have them out to that farm. Julie, thanks. This was really cool, really good. And I'm back here, and if you don't mind me sharing in your business, you guys have like a really healthy business setting up, I think, coming into your main selling season here. You guys got a nice pile of inventory here, bunch of houses for people to pick from. Like, I feel like is 2026, you have goals to have it be your biggest year ever?
I do. Yeah. And I think we're going to get there. I know we're going to get there because we partnered with Place, and that's where we're going.
I'll bet you $100 Aries believes you guys are going to get there. You think?
I know Aries believes I'm going to get there.
I love it. Okay. Well, hey, Julie, thank you so much. Tell the team behind the scenes, Aries and the group that's doing all this hard work. Thank you, because you had some amazing things to come here and share with us on the back of a lot of hard work that your team's putting into learning Brivity and then going out and using it. So thanks, Julie. Appreciate your time.
You're welcome. It was good being here. Thanks, guys.
All right. You guys have a great week. Chad and I will be back next week with somebody, but I guarantee the person we talk to next week won't have an ISA that's as killer as Aries. Julie, thank you. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye, Chad.
Bye.